Hello everyone, this is Jaya for the session of digitalization with an interesting case study. So today we'll come to know what is importance of digitalization and how the QR code helps to grow the business through QR codes. So first slide would be comprising of a scenario where there are two friends in the name of Bob and David who are working in a business, tools and business, where Bob is earning less, whereas the David is earning more. The reason actually behind uh, this is the Bob is earning less because he's using the traditional way of working, whereas the David is using the digitalization way. So where he can take all the documents on an online platform, he can give the services to the customers on time. He have a quick resolution part. But whereas if we see in the case of Bob, it is seriously very difficult when we are doing in a traditional way because there are a bunch of papers and we don't know if in that bunch of papers one of the papers can be lost. There is a risk. So that's the reason it is becoming difficult for Bob to earn. And more or less, it is a very time consuming. And secondly, it's a lot of manpower is used, and the error of the risk is really very very high. Whereas in a digitalization method, you get a risk of very less errors. The reason that everything is an online platform, and if there is any errors or anything, we can able to fix it there and there. But when we are doing in a traditional way, this is actually not possible when we are dealing with the traditional method in our business life. So that is the reason why Bob is struggling to get his business to be a smooth, whereas David is earning more and more and getting more and more business by the customer because the customers are really happy with this service. And second of all, there is a quick resolution of their queries, their complaints, and everything. So that is the reason the customers are happy and David is earning more. So now we'll come to know what is the difference, actual difference between a digitalization method and the traditional method. So when we go about in a traditional method, there are the factors where the risk of errors is high. It's a high time consuming loss of manpower is used. There is a high costing is there, and it's a very slow processing. That is the main part because nowadays the people don't want to wait for their service to be done. So they want instant. So the reason behind in traditional, it is a very slow processing method. And second comes the difference between the digitalization method. So digitalization method, if I see the difference, it is the risk of errors is less. It's less faster processing, less manpower is used, very low costing, and less time is consumed. So the people will go for a less time consumption things because when we get everything on an online platform, whether we are searching for anything or a product or a book or an article, anything, so we can do it through an online platform which doesn't consume our time very much. But in a traditional way, we if we do, even in a business life also, we have to search, see the things in a physical manner where it is taking more and more time for us. So nobody wants to waste that much of time in doing in a traditional way. That is, the people always prefer to do it in a digitalization method. So that is more convenient, more useful to do it. Now we come, what is actual digitalization? If we talk about a digitalization, it comprises of four factors, which comprises of firstly the technology, then comes the process, then comes data, and then comes the change in the organizational chart. So when we talk about the technology, if we talk about the software, if we talk about anything, if it is a very strong, which are being used in our website plus in the apps itself, so that becomes a really convenient where you are making a good interface or a convenient interface for the consumers to come to your app or a website, and whatever the product or whatever they are finding, they can able to find it with a less time consumption. That is the main thing when we are talking about technology. So it is really very helpful when The technology is the main part or the main wheel in the digitalization method. Then comes the data. So the data, we can do it in an online platform when we want to analyze about our product, when we want how much data regarding the product is being used, what are the feedback regarding that particular brand or a product. So we can do a market analysis, we can do the data analysis, and we can put it on an online platform because it's really useful when we are want to compare all our data with the previous data with the previous years. So these things becomes little bit easier and it becomes convenient for us. But when we do all these things in a traditional way, it becomes a real tougher because you can't find those data on an physical manner because somewhere you have written it in a paper, and we know that paper can be lost, that paper can be anywhere, and you won't able to find it at that point of time. Whereas when we are doing on a digital platform, we know we have named that document or we have done that analysis and it is kept in a separate folder. So we can get through easily and we can compare those data on an online platform. So these are the tools which helps in a digitalization part. Third comes the process. When we automated the process, we try to get the things more easier when we do for a complex business activities. So if the process is automated, it makes the easier for the consumers as well, because if there are so many complexity in the activity in the business website or in an app, so if it automated, that process get easy for the consumer to buy or to purchase on it, anything, or to get the knowledge of that particular product. So this is the third important part where we are talking about the digitalization. So now we have come to the entire thing. What is exactly digitalization? Digitalization comes everything which is kept on an online platform, which helps to grow our business, to make our business smooth rather than making it tougher in a traditional way. So we can nowadays, if we are talking about in a digital era, we can promote our brand or a product of our particular company. We can do it in a social media pages, which becomes really bit easy to grab the attention of the consumers, because where we can attract the attention of the consumer to 100 to 200 more than people. But in a traditional way we cannot do that. We can have a pamphlet, we can give to house, but those are not read, or it has gone to the dustbin. So that is what we are talking, where digitalization has a very powerful role when we are running a business on an online platform. If this tool is not there, we can't run a business so smooth. So that is why we think, or according to me, I would suggest that digitalization is a really important thing, whether we use it in a business life, whether use in a domestic life. Because as I'm a more frequent in an online platform, because I use the social media pages. I use to purchase good, or if I want any knowledge, I want any data about anything, I can search it in one place and I can get through it. So that makes my consumption of time less, instead of going in a traditional, in a physical manner. That makes my time wastage, because I knew about that is more time consumption, rather than if I'm doing on a laptop and I'm searching everything, I'm getting on the website, so I don't have to go anywhere and search for that particular product. So this is what we understood, or we can understood by the impact what digitalization have in our business module. So now we'll come about the importance of digitalization. So when we talk about the digitalization, the importance of digitalization, the first thing which everybody has in mind, that the risk of errors is less. So how do we define that? It can be defined in this manner that, okay, I have drafted a document and has some errors. If I do it in a manual way, there would be a lot of errors. But when we do it in an online platform, if I'm drafting a particular document, it can rectify immediately. It will give the suggestion, it will give the where the word is wrong, where a sentence is not correct. So these things help to draft a document very easily. But when we go in a traditional way, these things are really not available at that point of time, and neither we have those advantages to get through it. So this is what the importance at the risk of errors. Even I can say about that, if I want to book a ticket, and we can do it in an online platform, and if there is any problem, we can solve or rectify it in an online platform while booking the ticket. But if we do it in a traditional way, you just think that if something has gone wrong in that particular ticket while booking it, you have to go to that place again to rebook that ticket and make the necessary changes whatever you have. That creates a lot of time consumption of yours. But when we are doing it in online platform, that makes a bit easier, but very bit friendly for you to make the necessary changes. And it always tries to help you out if you're going in a page you want to rectify, or you want to make a necessary changes while doing the booking. So this is how the errors of the risk of errors are very less in that point of time. That is the main thing. When we run the business on an online platform, we always prefer that there should not be any errors with our website or with our brand or with our content of that particular product or a brand. So these things are always kept in a mind when we are running the business on an online platform. So the risk of errors is the main part which becomes lesser. Second, we come about the importance. We talk about the retention of the customers. So when we talk about the retention of the customers, so when we are doing it on online platform, so every consumer required instant resolution for that particular query, whether it's a complaint, whether it is about any information. If you're trying to help the customer by listening to his query or trying to solve it, that retain that makes the customer retain itself for that website, and they can even recommend your website for the same. It becomes really easy to grow your business in that particular phase. But if you don't listen to the consumer, you don't retain your consumer, the business never grows. So what consumer nowadays see, that how much you're paying the attention to their query or their complaints or their feedback, that makes the consumer really happy when the business person or the business representative is listening to the consumer queries. So this is the most important thing when you are running the business. The consumers are really important, because if you retain them, you will get that repeat purchases. You can get another wide database of the consumers to your website for the purchases. So this house becomes your business grow very smoothly, that you can run it very profitably. So that is what the main thing when we are retaining those customers. So if we don't retain it, we can't grow that business. If you have a number of tools, you have number of advantages, you have number of things, even the number of offers you have. But if you can't retain your consumers, if you are not listening to your consumers, that becomes a really difficult, really tougher part in that. But when we are trying to retain it and we are trying to solve it, that is the main point, that the consumer can come back to the website or the app for their repeat purchases. Third is the most important thing for the digitalization is the losing of the documents. When we talk about the documents, everybody has, even I also have many documents in my laptop or in our system. So when we keep these documents in a particular folder, or we keep it on our desktop, so sometimes it gets deleted, or even the system get crash for that. So we have that advantage according to digitalization, that we can retrieve it, we can fix it with the different tools, with the different technology, with the different viruses, antiviruses, where we can just secure our documents. But if we talk about that in a traditional way, whether we have those advantages, whether we have those tools, if I ask you, we don't have it. We can't have it, because Everywhere there will be a human errors when we are doing in a traditional way, but in a online part, it becomes really easy for the consumer as well as the business person that they can make it happen smoothly. It can try to retrieve it, fix it in an online platform. So the risk of losing the documents, whether it is in a crash position, whether there is a disaster, whether it has been deleted somehow, it becomes easier way to retrieve it. So that is why these three things come into a main part of digitalization when we talk about the importance. So this is what helps the business model to grow. It helps to improvise day by day. It tries to help you more and more tools, more and more things to be added on that particular website or an app so that you can use it very frequently. You go for the repeat purchases if you feel like that app is really good. So if you have this digital method in your business model, that makes it really easy and convenient for the consumers. So now we'll talk about the examples. Till now, we have discussed the digitalization through a scenario, then through what is the definition of it, then we have come through the importance. Now we'll discuss about the examples. Many people have that examples of digitalization like scanning a photograph or something. But I would say that nowadays it becomes easy because whenever it is a form for any admission or any opening an account or you are applying for a credit card or anything or any loan or personal loan, nowadays it becomes easier that you fill up a form and you can just submit it online. It takes a processing for like 2 to 3 days, which I have an experience, but when I doing in a traditional way, it takes like 15 to 20 days for processing. So I should ask you, what will you recommend? I think you will recommend the faster processing, that is 2 to 3 days. So in this scenario, the main example that is the forms are become digitally well improved and where we can do a digital signature. We don't have to wait for anybody. We can do it online and get our things processed. So it becomes a really faster process. We don't have to wait for us service to be done like 15 to 20 days of processing work. So this would be a good example when we are talking about digitalization. Everything has been digitalized, even for the promotion, even for a campaign. You can do everything on an online platform. That doesn't require you to do it in a traditional way because you don't able to get that attention from the consumers for your particular brand or the product. And so this is how the main importance or a impact or a, you can say, the main ingredient in the business tool, which is a digitalization. And if you have this tool, you can make the things happen at your particular end. So this is what the digitalization all about. Now we'll discuss about the case study, which I have told you earlier that with this digitalization method, there are advantages. So when we talk about the advantages, what you think would be the advantages of digitalization? The first thing will come into the mind, that is a less time consumption. It's a cost saving. Then has the accuracy, means the risk of errors is really less. Then you have an easy distribution whenever you have to put information about any product, or if you have to put an information about any offer for that particular brand, you can just put through it on an online social media where the person can see, because every now and then the people are opening their social media pages to get news or the information about different things. And this is really very easy because the consumer always required that type of a pop-up should come up whenever they uses the social media pages. So that becomes really easy that you don't have to go here and there. You just post it in an online platform where the person can see, and it can grab attention not only for 5 to 10 people, it can grab the attention of many people where they can see your product, brand, website, and everything. Then comes the secured. Like I told in the last previous slide, that documents are really secured part, and when we are doing in a digitalization way, so where we can able to fix those documents, they are really secured in an online platform. And the last which comes the increase in profits, which we refer, that is the retention of the customer. If we retain those potential customers, we can retain them, then we can get the repeat purchases, and we can get another base of customers from them, because they will recommend if they get a good service. Even if I talk about myself, if I am satisfied, if I'm very happy with the service of a particular brand, I'll be very happy. I'll recommend to the other people for that, because okay, I got this service, I'm really happy, and they listened to my query, my complaint, whatever I had. So I'll be really happy to share that information to other people, so that the other people should come and check the website. So that is what is increase in profits. When you retain those consumer, your profit will be increased day by day, and your business will grow more and more profitable. So these are the advantages of digitalization, or I can say is the best tool when we are running our business on an online platform. So now we'll be concluding with a case study. So I'm representing the company UX Living Lab, where it is a market research company where we can deal with the pricing, we can deal with the packaging, we deal with the uh, reports, where we can tell you about what is the awareness of your brand or your product. We can deliver you the reports. So these things we do, and we will try to give you more and more services which you required at that point of time. And for that, registration for a QR code, because everybody knows the QR code is a really uh, it's a particular image, but it has a powerful impact when we use it in our business life. So in our company, we all deal with a simple QR code, where you have to just put your two details, that is your name and the email ID, and your QR code is created. And in this era, or in this age, everybody doesn't want to stand in a queues, which you all know about it. So we want a service to be done instantly. Everybody would agree on that. So we deal with this, and we try to give more and more services, because for us, consumers are really, really important. Whatever their requirements, whatever they want the services from us, they can inquire to me about it. You can leave the messages. Even I can give you a calendar link for that. You can just book an appointment with us, and whatever your service or whatever your requirement is there, just let me know, so that I can try to help you out in this regard. And if and even I'll be providing, if you don't want to go to the website, you just wanted to install the app, that link also I'll be giving you, so that you can just try to find out how cool it is, how trendy it is to have a QR code in your business life, in your uh, doing your awareness of the brand or a product, which becomes easier for you to do it. So now the case study which today I'll be dealing with is a very simple case study. I'm dealing it. It's nowadays we have a flyers. Earlier I've talked about the pamphlets, where we used to write about the entire thing about the company, the details. So today I'll be dealing with the estate agency, where there is a very easiest way to get your customers, because when we distribute those flyers, either it goes to a dustbin, or either it goes somewhere else where the customers, even if I tell you, if I get a simple flyer, I will not look about, honestly I'll not look about, because uh, there is nothing much interesting, because it will never remember, and nobody will keep those bunch of flyers with us. So when I'm dealing with an estate agency, so how it is convenient, or how it will make easy for the consumer to remember your name, remember your details, company details, and what actually you are doing. So that is our case study today. So this is a simple image. You can, I'll be providing this image also. You can just have and scan it, and you'll get this type of a picture where you can, when you are dealing with an estate agency, everybody has that ad that gives in a paper about the company, about how many rooms are there, what are the history of the, how many stories are there in that particular building or then apartment. So these things comes, these details are come in that particular QR code which I have scanned. So in that, this page will comes up where you can see what is the actual details of the company. You can just save it on your phone. That is the most easier way you can do it, and you can remember it when you are trying to purchase a property or you are wanting to rent the property. So this is the most interesting, and the consumer will be very easy because nowadays every people is addicted to the mobile, and everybody is having those apps which makes it easier for them to recall each and everything. So if we have this QR code, a simple QR code, you can just scan it and get the details for that particular estate work, because it's just a flyer for him. If he just scan it and he throws that flyer away, but that details is come to his phone and he can deal, he will remember your services, he'll get to your product, he can have an interaction, you can have a convenient way to talk to your customers. Even it can boost your sales also. So that's what I would recommend, that every business should have this QR code that makes it easier for the consumers to, because nowadays we only see about the convenience part for the consumer when we are selling any product or anything, whether it is any damn thing. Because when we are talking about for a particular product or a brand, we will only see what the consumers are convenient, where the consumer has that comfort zone. So this would be a comfort zone. Why? Because they are just scanning and putting the details on the phone, and they can just, whenever they want to see a property or when they are want to sell it or they want to rent anything, so they can just crawl up and give you a call. That makes a very bit easy connection between you and the consumer. So this is what the impact has, the QR code on your business life when you're dealing with the property dealers, estate agency, whatever. So this type of information comes in that small image, which we call it as a QR code, but it has a terrible, or a not terrible, I would say it. I would say it would be a very major impact on your business life, because it helps in your sales part, because you always, everybody is in sales and everybody wants on a top of the sales. So this is the very coolest way you can just make it happen. So according to me, these things are really important when you're running it online and you're making it easier for the consumer to connect with you, because nobody wants that he'll just go to the website and wait for his queue to come and then you'll chat with it. It becomes, if these things are in that particular, you can put these details in your QR code, it becomes really easy, very convenient, very trendy for the person. He'll be surprised. Okay, in this flyer, only this QR code is very easy. I can scan it and get the details. Why would I run around here and there to get that particular details of that company? So I would recommend, even because I go through in an online platform, so I'm completely, I would be surprised if I get a QR code and it's a really very easy to do it. I would take the easiest way. Why would I take the traditional way, or why would I go through tremendous search for it? If I'm getting all those details in a simple QR code for property dealers or a agency, that will be really helpful. I'm getting the phone number, I'm getting the company details, I'm getting the URL of the company, everything I'm getting on that one click, instead of going here and there searching for that particular website. So I would, the people who are dealing with the property dealing and estate things, you can just use this QR code. You can boost up your sales. You have a good connection with your consumers, instead of giving a numbers or a visiting card. This would be a much easier way that will be saved in their consumers' phone, and that would be really easy for you to go through it. So I would recommend this QR code should use it in your business, in your daily life also, because I use more and more, because I use it in a payment section. I use it to purchase anything if I'm going or searching anything. So QR code is the best way to do it. If nobody has a wallet, we can just scan it or give the number and we can just pay the bill. So this is what QR code, and that is the importance, and that has a powerful impact on a business model when we are running a business on an online platform. So I would recommend this thing very, I think, powerfully, or I would suggest that you should use it. And please try to come to our website also. Just see whatever the service you require, whatever the requirements you have according to your product or a brand or a company, so that we can provide you the insights, we can provide you the reports. Then you can understand what is actually we are doing and how your company is working through those reports. We get the strategies ready for you. We'll try to get through many things. If you want whatever the service you required, whatever thing you require, just let us know so that we can help you out in this. Hope you enjoyed this session. And if you have any query or a comment or any feedback regarding the session, just let me know. And if you have any suggestion that I should present on that particular subject, just let me know so that I can present you that subject on that particular day with this QR code. So thank you very much for joining this session.